You're listening to the Experience of the Soul podcast channel, bringing you inspiration, teachings, and practices to support your spiritual journey. Welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, a weekly show helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. Today, episode 385, special guest and music from Daniel Nahmod. And now, Experience of the Soul.
Hello and welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I am the host. And of course, this is the Experience of the Soul podcast. We're so grateful and happy that you joined us today. And we have a really special guest we're going to bring on in a few minutes. But first, I want to introduce my producer, Mr. Shawn Kilgore is here with me today.
Thank you so much, and happy to be here with you as always. Welcome, everybody, to episode 385 of the Experience of the Soul podcast. Today is Monday, November 3rd, and like Cynthia just said, we're very excited to welcome back a good friend of the show who will be joining us in just a little bit. But first, as always, we want to bring you This Week in Spiritual History. It's just a quick pause where we take some time to notice the meaningful and some fun events that are happening this week. We start with this Wednesday, November 5th, which is the Festival of Lights on the Ganges. So this is, I'm sure you've all probably seen photos or a video of this. In India, this week brings what they call Kartik Purnima, which is a full moon festival. And in the city of Varanasi, it's called Dev Deepawali. So basically, just imagine thousands of tiny lamps glowing along the riverbanks and turning the night into a sea of light. It's a celebration of beauty, gratitude, and offering light to the world. Very similarly, in Thailand, the Wednesday and Thursday of this week, November 5th and 6th, there are two beloved festivals happening at the same time together. The first one is called Loi Krathong, which is where people float small candle boats onto the water, and Yi Pun, which is when sky lanterns rise into the night. So water and sky filled with moving lights, a gentle reminder to let go of what we no longer need and send our hopes upward.
Amen to that, my friend.
Yeah.
I love
and so both of those things very
Yeah.
similar. So from the riverbanks of India to the skies of Thailand, these festivals sort of remind us that when we release a single light together, it could become a sea or even a sky of hope.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Moving into a little bit more of a serious note, this Sunday, November 9th, marks the anniversary of Kristallnacht, which is the Night of Broken Glass. This happened, of course, in 1938. This is a sobering moment in history when Jewish homes and synagogues were attacked across Germany. Today, communities remember not just the tragedy, but the ongoing call to stand for compassion and against hate.
Amen. Wow.
Also on Sunday, the Catholic Church celebrates the dedication of St. John Lateran in Rome, often called the Mother Church. This is a reminder that spiritual homes aren't just buildings. They should be places where people gather to grow and support each other in love.
Boy, not a truer word has been spoken, Shawn. And I know so many of us right now, our hearts are so heavy to see the hatred and division, especially in the U.S. I never imagined in the United States that I would see this level of division. I've seen it in other countries, and the fact that we're experiencing it here, and even in our history, we see there's always been hatred, and there's always been a rising up of good, wholeness, peace, and love in response. And I just, so hope and pray that we could get there without this level of hatred. But it seems as humans that we need to be reminded of what damage we can do when hatred leads instead of love.
Yeah, and we're seeing it every day. We're seeing the damage every day, and it makes you wonder, how do we get back? How do we stop this? Like, it's crazy. And this is an odd transition, but just for fun to keep things a little light.
That's in it.
Yeah. Yeah. So today, Monday, November 3rd, is National Sandwich Day. So whether you go for peanut butter and jelly or grilled cheese or something a little more gourmet, this is just a little light invitation to enjoy life's simple comforts. What's your favorite sandwich?
Well, I was thinking of making a whole cookbook of sandwiches because I'm the sandwich maker. And even when my family visits, my sister will say, will you make me one of your sandwiches? So I make a really good one called the Italian, which is, often has prosciutto and salami and maybe some mozzarella and maybe some caramelized onions. I mean, it is delicious.
Still learning new things about you. I had no idea you were such a sandwich connoisseur.
Yes, and they're always grilled to perfection, so they're hot and yummy.
Well, I'll be looking to come over for lunch one day.
That's right. You're like, forget the boat trip at my house. I'm coming to your house. I'll make a sandwich.
You're making sandwiches. Oh, yeah. That's good. All right, friends. So this week's observances move from glowing lights to remembrance, from sacred spaces to simple joys. Each one calls us in its own way to align more fully with love, peace, and unity. The very themes our guest Daniel Nahmod sings and speaks about so powerfully. So here's a question for you to think about as you move through your week and as we move into today's episode. How can you live more deeply into oneness this week in both the little joys and the deeper commitments? And with that, friends, we are so happy and excited to welcome back a good friend of the show, Daniel Nahmod. If you've been with us a while, you've for sure heard and seen him on the podcast.
Yes.
Or maybe you've seen him on our Monday night events within the Soulworks community when we were doing that. Or maybe you've been a part of his very own musical Monday nights on Facebook Live. Or maybe you've seen him live at one of the Unity churches, recently at Unity of Daytona Beach. But Daniel has written and performed so many songs that have reached people worldwide. But more than all of that, he's one of the most authentic voices in spiritual music today. So let's welcome back to the show, Daniel Nahmod.
Daniel, great to have you, my friend.
Great to be had.
Yes, yeah. And it's what Shawn said is so true. You know, I think so highly of you and the music that you bring, but it's really the heart with which you live. And, you know, you have had a real powerful ministry in so many churches over the years. And what people may not realize is your Facebook Lives you've been doing on Monday nights for, I don't know how long, how many years now, because it started during COVID, didn't it? Isn't that when you first started that?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, March of 2020. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Nahmod family went unemployed, as so many families did. You know, we were self-employed. Yes. I'm making music, my wife making jewelry, and my schedule went from full to empty. And I went overnight for the rest of the year. I had been booked, and then I was unbooked. And then starting a week or two later, I went online Facebook Live. Yeah, I did. It wasn't Monday nights originally. I did 12 nights, 12 nights of concerts, and then another 12, and then another 12, and then it tapered off a bit, and I realized that a regular schedule might be a smart transition. So switched to Monday nights and still doing it to this day. So, I mean, there's probably been about 1,000 Facebook broadcasts of different kinds. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Well, and I remember for myself during that time, when COVID started, and I was, leading a ministry then as well. And, your music really supported me. And I know you support so many. And so, I don't know, Daniel, you and I, even though we're friends and we work together, I don't know if you're aware. I mean, our podcast now is just all over the world, and any way that we can support you in getting your message out. And it also supports us, right? So very happy to have you on the show. And, I hope you will share some music today, but I want to hear, just a little bit about what's been going on for you. I knew you had a couple of recent creative projects too, and I'm not sure if everybody is aware of those. So just jump in.
I wouldn't think too many people are aware of it. If they're aware of it, the only way they'd be aware of it is from happening on one of my Facebook shows where I've talked about it and sung some things from a musical I'm writing. That's the mountain I'm climbing right now. Is I'm writing a musical, full length, honest to God, 2-hour.
Yes.
Shindig, an extravaganza. I've only been working on it, 10, 15, 20 years really, but in earnest for a couple of years now. And we're talking about 50, I've probably written 50 new songs for this thing. And they've been pared down now. The show, I am almost done with a very significant milestone. I'm almost done with the second draft of this thing, which is significantly shorter, tighter, better, and fewer songs than the first draft. And the second draft is going to be ready for me to cast a few actor-singers to read through this show with me. And then the goal is for that to happen before the end of the year. And then I'll have some sense of what it is I've done. Because as you know, in the midst of creating it, there's really no way of knowing what it is. I know that it's giant. I know that it's a very complicated thing. I told an audience yesterday. I was in Oregon, recently in Oregon, and I told them that it's essentially, it feels like I'm writing a novel with 25 songs.
Exactly. Yes.
And I've never written a novel, and
right.
So it's a lot of moving parts. It's very creative and very fun. A part of me would love to know how this turns out. That is to say, whether people talk to, they hear the songs, on Facebook, in live, I've been doing a few of these songs for fun, and they say, I can't wait to see it on the stage. And, that's a very speculative thing. Like there's a piece of me that's daring to imagine that happening. Yes. But that is that's hard to achieve, for it to end up on stage. So will my show actually be on a stage one day? I kind of can't really think about it too much, if you know what I mean. It's sort of like writing a book and wondering if it's going to be a bestseller,
Yes, I know that feeling.
Let me first hold the first copy, and then we'll take it from there.
Then we'll Right. Well, it's such a creative work. And I always feel, being a writer, a minister, and musician, all of those things are very spirit led, because it's like living out the creative process over and over and over. And the amount of, trust you have to have in your whole livelihood, because as you say, you are self-employed, and every next gig decides the next.
There is milk in the fridge upstairs right now because of a song I wrote, right? And that's
absolutely,
that's right on the cusp of miraculous. But then add to that the fact that I had no idea, when I wrote whatever particular song paid for that gallon of milk, I had no idea if that song was any good. And the appearance, the performance that put the $5, or what is a gallon of milk now? I don't know, $25 for a gallon of milk. Whatever put that money in my pocket to pay for that gallon of milk. Who put the person in the seat who was moved enough to buy an album or whatever? All of it is so amorphous, and it really is an exercise of trust. It is. My wife is much more practical than I am.
There needs to be one in every couple.
There does. 100%. She's the linear, clear thinking, mess organizing person in the relationship. And every so often, and she would tell you this too, it's not a secret, every so often she will say something that is just over the line of too practical. And I will say, whoa. I live in dreamland.
That's right. Don't.
I can't do that.
I can't go there.
My entire 25 years, I've sat down in front of a piano or picked up a guitar, written something that didn't exist before, one would hope, and attempted to move a room with it and make $1 with it. That is the life of a dreamer, and please don't drag me too far back.
Too far back, exactly. Well,
Earth.
Didn't you have a more corporate type position before? I mean, I thought you were like in IT or something. It's been so long that I forget that story, because when I first met you, you hadn't been out of it all that long.
Not at all.
I mean, that's how long I've known you, right?
Yeah. No, I moved to LA in '98, and we must have met within a couple of years.
I think it was like 2000.
Maybe 2000, 2001. Yeah. So that's 25 years that we've known each other.
I know.
And yes, and what I did basically was there were expectations of me and my brothers, and they were they were reasonable, and they were fair, and they were intelligent expectations. They were rational expectations. They were good expectations.
They were rational.
The good expectations really were an education all the way through completed college and gainful employment. So
and you played an instrument. Didn't you play trombone in college?
I played trombone in high school and college, and
that's a great instrument.
It is, and it was I can honestly say it was meant to be a hobby. I mean, but from my parents, they know to this day the enrichment, the power of musical education. They know what it does. So they made all three boys take some piano lessons. I got it. But I wasn't raised to become a musician. I was raised to become a lawyer and play music on the side. In fact, So the corporate, I did corporate jobs. The corporate jobs were computer programming, and I was pretty good at computer programming. There are similarities, there are connections between math and music, and I can tell you I could speculate on what some of them are, given that my brain is an example of that. But computer programming kind of came naturally to me. And I remember sitting in cubicles and just dying from, boredom or lack. I was the corporate employee who was always tapping his toes and humming, with probably driving the cubicle neighbors crazy. But I also remember my parents always saying, if you want to be a musician, get a teaching certificate and teach music. And you know what? They were right. They were 100% right. That is a great life. You're still in music, and you have, I'm going to say the word. I know. Benefits. You have pension. You have
regular income,
paychecks, health insurance. When people, there are musicians. I am not, I'm not a star. I'm not a celebrity, but I have pulled off, something of a miracle for 26, 7 years or whatever now of writing songs and singing them and putting milk in the fridge for all these years. And I do sometimes get musicians who talk to me with some level of envy, I just want to do what you do. And the truth is that what I do behind the scenes is 90% of the job. On stage, that's not the work. You know that too.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
When you're on stage talking, that's not the work. That's not work. That's pure bliss and expression. I could do that all day, but I can't do that all day because I also have to book travel and fly and pack and book gigs and write the songs and record the songs. Even
order and get the merch ready.
The merchandise ready. Package it and price it and figure out how to price it, and then do the banking and pay the bills, and then never mind raise the child and try to be a good husband. The job of the musician. It's like I once read in a book about small business The first sentence, I don't remember the book, but I loved the first sentence, never forgot it. A long time ago, I read it. Just because you love to bake pies doesn't mean you should open a pie shop.
Right.
Because they're different things. They're different things.
They are. Mm-hmm.
Just because you love to public speak doesn't mean you should be a minister. It is much more than just the speaking, as you know. I mean, your job kind of never ends. Does your job ever end?
Other duties as assigned, exactly.
Your job never ends. No.
Mm-mm.
There's more off the job description of a minister than on the job description.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, absolutely.
Delicacy,
absolutely,
diplomacy.
And I think yes, and I think the places you and I have always connected, I think, is we both carry this this commitment to following our heart and our passion and our purpose, and we're as this show airs, we're coming off this series of expanding our vision, and working, thinking about being in alignment with our life's call and purpose. And it does take a great deal of courage to do that. It also takes trying things that may or may not, look successful. Yeah, they may not work, or they may not look successful in the real world, but then it gets us further down the path, and we take that as another step, and then launch from that. And I wanted to go into all this because I feel like sometimes our listeners, and I'm sure you experience this too, people think that because we're up front, or because we're on a stage or speaking and you're performing, that somehow our lives are perfect and we don't have to work for it. And in my view, the opposite is true. I feel like I have to work harder, because everything I'm experiencing in my life, I have to figure out, number one, I have to figure out how to heal and work through it, and then I have to give it as an understandable message to somebody. So
right.
I think it's really important for people to hear we're humans with a creative process, and we're still learning and growing. And that's why I like to have you on really regularly, because every time you're on, there's some new project. Like you told us about the musical, and I was thinking about I knew about the musical, but what I actually had in my mind when I asked that is, I thought you had a new song too out called "Taking My Time." Don't you have that as well?
Yeah, with my friend Nemo. Yeah,
with Nemo, and you did a little video and everything. It was sweet. Yeah.
Mostly.
Are you not loving that, or what?
No. I love the song. I love the song, and I love Nemo, and I love the video. If we had only used a little bit of a graphic manipulation to not accentuate the fact that Nemo is 6 inches taller than me and about 50 pounds lighter. Otherwise, I love it. I sometimes tell people, like in the back of, like, I'll frequently sit with strangers, let's say at a church service. I'll be at the church service, and there's time, just a few minutes before the service starts. I don't know if you know that I do this. I'll find somebody to sit next to, usually somebody who is sitting alone, and the intention, my honest intention, is to kind of include them in the experience. Like, hey, that guy up there singing, I was just chatting with him. That's cool. And I'll ask them how their day was, or what they had for breakfast, or something random, whatever. But sometimes people will say, we're really looking forward to your performance. And I'll say, I'm glad, but if it falls apart, please don't tell me what you thought of it, And they'll laugh. And I'll say, I'm only pretending to be as secure as I look up there, And it's mostly a joke, right? But it's not.
Yes, of course.
Not entirely a joke, because you and I we do the best we can. I worked with you 100 times, right? You are consistently intending to be excellent, right?
Yes.
And so am I, but I am not consistently. I mean, it's certainly not consistently my best. I have moments.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm speaking to. I mean, we are human beings with lives, partners, and bills to pay, and health challenges,
and exhaustion
we care about.
Yes.
Exhaustion, or we stayed at some weird hotel that had a weird smell, and it's like and but what I wanted to share with you, and I'm not sure I've ever shared this before. So much of my spiritual practice is deeply private, because I share so much publicly that I feel like sometimes I hold these little pieces. And one of the little kind of practices I've had that's important to me is I've used your song quite a bit, Get Ready My Soul. And, before we came on today, you said, well, what, in your request? I was like, no. Oh, wait. Yeah. Get Ready My Soul. And I love that song for so many reasons. I mean, I remember when you wrote it, which was also after a very powerful time you had of transformation. But I love what it speaks to, because I feel like for where we are, certainly as a country, and I would even say in the world, that what the only thing I believe that'll heal where we are is to live from the soul. And so what I started to share was, as a part of my ritual, singing that song is like, you know what? I'm just going to go the next step of my soul work, because that's the only thing I can control. I can't control what the president says. I can't control what his cabinet says. I can't control, what the prime minister, in another country says. What I can do, though, is live a life of peace, a life of joy, a life of purpose, a life where I hopefully inspire people to be kind, be loving, to heal. And to me, there's no greater work. And so your song, has been very important in that. And I would love if, you would do it for us today. And if people would just imagine that, or just realize, I should say, that it is so important to live from soul. We talk about it like there's all these great spiritual books, and I love the spiritual books, and I've written some, and I'm glad people read them.
Yeah.
I've written a few. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and they are helpful and supportive, and thank you for buying my journal and books. But what really is the work is the soul work. It's like staying vulnerable, diving deep, going in, keeping my heart open, even when it hurts, or even if it makes me cry, or even if I don't understand. And I feel like we go to anger and rage so quickly now that we are missing a huge opportunity to go into the soul, and try to just open our hearts a little bit more. And anyway, that song, Get Ready My Soul, is very, very special to me. So I was hoping you'd do it for us.
I'd be glad to. That's really nice. Thank you for saying all that. And it just occurred to me exactly what you're talking about. I'm watching some drama on Netflix, and there's a terrorist something, and the victim, one of the victims of the kidnapping or whatever it is, says, please spare my life. I have a child. And the terrorist kidnapper responds, so did I. Okay. And the idea being, I guess, that this terrorist kidnapper has lost a child somewhere along the line and is blaming the institution or the company or the country, whatever, that he's kidnapped.
Whatever.
Right. And it literally occurred to me,
and as so I hurt so bad, I'm going to make you hurt as well.
This hurts me so bad. The only thing I can think to do is hurt you. And that is exactly what you're talking about. How does the cycle in the Middle East end? It ends with, instead of hitting back, it ends with crying and saying, my family has been devastated. I lost my business. I lost my home. I lost somebody on the attack in October 2 years ago. Right? I lost, for me, I lost an entire generation, 2 generations of family that would have had descendants that would have been my cousins now to the Holocaust. I can lash out, I can be angry, or I can grieve it. And feel it and admit it and dissipate the hurt in another way. So I had this exact thought you just said about that living from living from a soul, living from a heart, the vulnerability. That's a big one. I mean,
the vulnerability is a really big piece.
We're not really. Go ahead. And I was just say we're not that far from other animals. Every living thing covers up to protect itself when it feels threatened. And most animals fight back when they feel threatened. I mean, you corner almost any animal, and it's going to try to come at you, even if it's completely outmatched. It's going to try to fight you for its survival. Life wants to live, but
yes,
there's a deeper way to respond. There is. We have the opportunity. We really do.
Well, we do, and you know what? And I may not be successful at this, but my goal is to get people to think that all of the leaders that we aspire to be spiritually. For example, Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, Gandhi. They all said exactly what you and I are saying.
Right.
And they lived it in such a way that even death could not, extinguish their message.
Yes.
And, and so somehow we've forgotten that. So, in my little corner, it's in Orlando, it's in Daytona, and it's on the podcast, worldwide, that, even if I feel like even if I just give the idea that maybe there's another option somehow that just might help somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But it is only by living from soul that this can even be accomplished. You cannot do it from the level of the mind and the personality. It is not possible. No. It is so limited. The mind and the personality are so limited. And I know because I have my own reactions. I know because I have to work with my own fears and thoughts and, insecurity about what's happening. So one of the things I use is this song you're going to do. Get Ready, My Soul.
All right. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Beautiful.
Welcome.
Beautiful. So, my friends, it is living from soul. Once again, it is living from our connection with God, living in alignment with our purpose. As the scriptures tell us, to love God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, and neighbor as ourselves. It is that simple. And to do that, especially now, we must live from soul. So, Daniel, it's always a pleasure to have you, and I'm grateful to know you as a friend, but also as someone who inspires so many others. So, my friends, thank you for listening. We're honored to have you along the journey to join Daniel, Shawn, and myself today. And I feel like I want to end this time with just a short prayer, but I hope you will dedicate some time every day, just a little bit every day, to touch in with God, get connected, support yourself, support your own emotional nature so that you can rise above the madness of the day. Also, continuing to work for justice, standing for peace and living from love. This is my goal. This is my hope. This is my prayer and my purpose. So I hope you'll join me in that. So, my friends, let's join together for a word of prayer. Giving thanks, dear God, that we are loved beyond what we can imagine. Our prayer and our hope is to live from love always, and to remember to live from the very heart and soul of us. We take a moment now to simply become aware that our soul is always here, has always been with us, and is guiding us forward on the journey, lifting us higher into this higher awareness of who God is and who I am. And for this time to remember this truth, we are grateful, we are blessed. And so it is. Amen. And so, my friends, we will leave you with one more song from Daniel. I'm not sure what it is, but Daniel, anything you're feeling?
Yeah, I got something in mind, actually. Something occurred to me during our conversation.
Excellent. I'd love to have one more, and that'll take us out.
Okay, here we go. Well, I used to dream out loud. Just being human made me proud. Now I throw my hands up in the air from disillusion and despair. My heart has taken such abuse. I've used my hurt as my excuse. It's like my hope has disappeared behind the shadow of my fear. And I wonder why they say that aging thins the skin. Then I remember I am only one, but I am not alone. I don't need to do everything, no. I can right one wrong, I can sing one song. I don't need to do everything. It's time to dive back in. Yeah, it's time to live again. I am unjaded. What if you have to fall to grow? I've fallen hard enough to know. So what if life's not fair? Does it mean that I'm too cool to care? And I wonder when I stopped believing right will win. Then I remember I am only one, but I am not alone. I don't need to do everything, no. I can right one wrong, I can sing one song. I don't need to do everything. It's time to dive back in. Yeah, it's time to live again, unjaded. What kind of life would I live with my heart closed? What kind of man would I be? What kind of world will I be creating if I can love with all of me? If I just love with all of me. I am only one, but I am not alone. I don't need to do everything on my own. I can right one wrong, I can sing one song. I don't need to do everything. I am only one, but I am not alone. I don't need to do everything. everything, no. I can write one wrong or sing one song. I don't need to do everything. It's time to dive back in. Yeah, it's time to dive back in. Oh, it's time to live again. I am unjaded. Unjaded.
Oh, great, Daniel. Thank you so much.
Thank
and friends, thank you so much for joining us today, my friends. And if you do want to know more about Daniel and his music, please go to danielnahmod.com. You can also find out more on his Facebook page and probably coming to a church near you.
Facebook is Daniel Nahmod USA.
Thank you so much. Yes, Daniel Nahmod USA. And your Monday nights are at 9 p.m., right? Eastern.
Every Monday night live, 6 o'clock California, 9 o'clock Eastern. Yes, every Monday night live.
All right. Thank you so much, Daniel. And thank you, friends, for joining us on the show today. As always, we are grateful and blessed to have you along the journey with us. And blessings on the journey, my dear friends. I will see you next week.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. This podcast is made possible because of listeners and viewers just like you. If you would like to support this podcast with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head on over to cynthiaaliceanderson.com/donate. The Experience of the Soul podcast is copyright 2025 Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved, and is produced by Shawn Kilgore. A production of the Soulworks Group, Incorporated.
Hello, dear friend, and welcome. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson, and I am the owner and founder of the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. For over 7 years, we have been honored to bring you messages that inspire, uplift, and support your spiritual journey. These programs are made with love and made possible by you and your generosity. That's why over the next 90 days, we are aiming to raise $9,000 to carry this channel forward into the new year. Every gift, large or small, helps us continue producing, sharing, and reaching souls all around our world. So I invite you today to give as you are able, knowing that your support keeps these messages coming and available to all. Thank you for walking the journey with us, dear friend. Together we are making a difference. We are so grateful. Blessings on the journey, my dear friends.